Welcome to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders. This is a white. This is a
white.
weekly. This is not. I mean, fuck yeah, I'm looking like extra white with the screen today. Holy shit! This is a weekly streaming YouTube vidcast by Star Wars fans for Star Wars fans, and today we're going to continue our episode review with The Bad Batch, Season 1, Episode 11, The Devil's Deal.
Yeah, not to be confused with the Devil's Triangle. Totally
Yes.
different thing.
That's going to be Episode 17. It's going to be weird though, because
Wow.
well, you know what? We're not even going to get into
Yeah,
that.
I'm like trying to. I can't. Nope. Initial thoughts. What do you think?
I loved it last night.
Awesome.
And then I watched it earlier today, like actually right before we got on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's mine. Like I'm okay with it. You know. I really liked seeing Hera. I dug this story that they were, like just sort of as like a jumping off point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a decent jumping off point. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next week, I guess.
It was okay. Let's see if this has any consequences in the future.
Yeah, seriously. So it was directed by Stuart Lee. It was written by Tamara Becker Wilkinson and it was released last Friday, July 9th, 2021 on Disney+. You want to walk through the episode for us?
Yeah, so it starts off with Ryloth and the Imperial invasion. Yep, absolutely. Gotta love the Twi'leks. Yeah. So it starts off with Senator Orrin Freetah. I always forget the fucking dude's name. And I'm gonna jump out of this discussion real quick.
Okay.
Why the fuck is he the only Twi'lek that has 3 fingers? I don't get that.
I didn't even notice.
That is all I could notice last night. Like between that and the heavy French accents.
Yeah, the accents were hard.
I never really noticed. I mean, of course, with Cham, like he has a clear accent in the show, and when Hera's fighting with what's his bucket, she slips into her Twi'lek accent. But God, was it heavy. Anyways, so back to the actual show. So the senators explain to everybody, hey guys, let's be happy the Empire's here. They're gonna hook us up with the refinery, and guess what, you don't have to fight anymore, so let's just take all them weapons because you don't need them.
Yeah.
And then they're all fucking booing him and like, fuck you. So of course enter Cham Syndulla, which we all know from Rebel fame and a couple of the books, I forget which ones, but he's a freedom fighter. And you see the inner turmoil on his face and when he's talking to one of the clones, but he proceeds to tell him, hey guys, the fight's over. They helped us. We respect them. Just get rid of your weapons.
Yeah. Such a weird thing to say after having just gone through war.
Yeah. Like, it just ended. Cool. No, it's cool. Get rid of them. You don't need them anymore. You remember how we used to be by ourselves and needed everything?
Yeah.
It's okay. They're here. We don't need it anymore.
Big government is going to take care of us.
Yeah,
because that's what they do.
Yeah,
I have such a hard time sort of wrapping my head around the different concepts that are happening right now, right? So they were a part of the the Senate, what is it called, the Republic, and then the Separatists came in and started like devastating their town and their planet, so they had to run insurgent attacks, and then the Republic turns into an empire in order to, as a final sort of statement, in order to squash the Separatists that were destroying their planet. So why are they super distrustful of the Empire when they literally helped liberate them?
Yeah, like they created the fucking Empire in a sense.
Yeah, like so that disparate connection doesn't really make any sense. I understand if you burn a bridge, well then like the Empire takes away all your weapons without you knowing, then you're like, wait a second, I thought we were cool, then there's reason. But the fact that they're putting a refinery on your planet and they're like, no, everyone gets the joy of work.
Yeah. It's like, hey, they're going to bring prosperity. Like, you guys are going to have jobs. You don't have to be warriors anymore.
Yeah. It's like, maybe we could just go back to the way it was before the Separatists instead. Is that an option? Could I just move away over there? So, for that reason, I thought it was a little bit strange. There's just a couple disconnects like that bugged me. The French accents were really bugging me. I was just waiting for a Twilight
Harris was
mime to come out of the woodwork.
Right.
Just fucking.
Yeah, Hera was awful. And I don't get it. It's like the kids in this show are just so on a, like, here's where everybody else is acting, here's where they are. Almost like the girl in Psycho Gorman. But, like, if there was a middle ground between normal acting and the girl from Psycho, and Hera and Omega are, like, right in the middle.
Yeah, they totally are. It's weird. I never thought about that, but it's true.
Well, I was watching it with my wife earlier before we started recording, so that's why. I mean, it's always kind of bothered me, but I never really considered it. It's just like, oh, okay, well, that's part of the show. And she's like, God, what's with their fucking accents?
Yeah. Another thing that bothered me, the ears. The girls had like points, and the guys had like ears, like human ears.
Yeah, that's normal.
I've never noticed that before.
Oh, yeah, it's
creepy.
Yeah, that's how it is. And like the pointed teeth. I mean, they have flat teeth as well, but the men typically will grind their teeth.
Yeah. All right. I thought that was strange. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So, of course, everybody's throwing a fit over the weapons being taken away, especially Cham's, what was he, a lieutenant? His brother, Gobi Glee. He's like, oh, this is bullshit. We can't do this. Say, Hera, why don't you go spy on these motherfuckers? And then she gets caught.
That's another thing that really bugs me. Like, she's a kid. She's like a little kid. And you're going to have her do your recon for you? Like a child? Against the parents' wishes? That doesn't track for me. Like, that makes no sense. Did you freeze up? Are you there?
I totally did.
Okay,
and we're
back.
Or I'm back, at least.
Does that make sense to you? Like, why would that even be an option?
Well, especially, okay. All right. So, yes, it makes sense why they would have her in it. Kind of. Because, I mean, like, Cham is a fucking freedom fighter. Like, he's a radicalist. Like, of course he's going to use everything on his plate that he can. The war's over. Like, their liberators are there. Why would he let his brother? I mean, he didn't let his brother steal his daughter, but like, the thing I don't get is, why is she spying in the middle of the fucking day?
Because
like,
she's a kid and she don't know shit about shit.
Yeah, you're bright green in a desert. Like, you stand out very, very heavily.
Yeah, with a bright orange can, a garbage can right next to you.
Yeah,
that doesn't shut up.
As fuck, right? Like, yeah, that was.
What did you think about seeing Chopper again?
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was like, oh, I didn't know they were like lifelong pals. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was nice to find out. Like, oh, she had him before everything that we've seen her in. So yeah, it was all right.
Before we go further with this, one thing that stood out in my mind early on was as soon as she was taken back, she was caught by the clone troopers, and that one clone trooper that has his helmet off all the time, he was like helping him out. He was being super cool. So is this like only a percentage of the clones were like super hardliners, or it just the chip wears off, or like how is he cool and everyone else is just like rigid, good soldiers follow orders?
Right. I don't know. Like, I kind of wondered that myself. Like, I mean, I understand that his orders still would fall within the parameters if they're a law-abiding species.
Right. Oh, man. Just locked up again. Damn internet.
I don't.
You're back.
Oh, am I going out again? God.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, it didn't make sense to me.
It was strange. Anyway, I'm hoping that it gives us some sort of clue as to, like, maybe there's a time limit for the inhibitor chip, and maybe we'll see Crossfire sort of deal with that in a little bit, or Crosshair, sorry, deal with that a little bit. But anyway, so I interrupted again.
No, I mean, well, to be honest, there's not much to this fucking story. But, yeah, so she gets caught. She gets in trouble. She gets scolded. And then is like, oh, well, I can't do anything anymore. When her uncle's like, hey, you want to go on a run? Well, I can't. Ah, shucks. He's like, but it's not spying. You said you couldn't go spying. Yeah, but I better not. But you can fly. Okay. And then
he's an enabler.
Yeah. Like,
this guy.
He is, like, that's the one realistic part about this shit. Like, I've had uncles like that. Like, everybody's got that one cool uncle that you know is going to get your ass in trouble, but it's going to be fun up until you get in trouble. That's just, yeah, so I believe.
But the consequences, though, like...
They're a little big.
Like death, like, treason. Like, this is the consequence. Like, hey, come commit treason with us, little girl. You get a fly. And he's just okay with it. Like, that's what drives me crazy. Who is this guy who just, with wild abandon, cares nothing for the health and welfare of his own nephew or niece?
Right.
Just, what the hell? This doesn't make sense. I guess she's just like a super badass kid that's just like every 80s and 90s film never actually has any consequences. Like, they always get out easy.
I mean, that's what it seems like.
I've seen every kid's film, Goonies and Home Alone. No kid actually gets hurt, so let's just take the kid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a trauma movie, so she'll be okay. But yeah, so this is another thing. All right, so they're getting ready to leave, and Crosshair's there. He shoots a tracking beacon on their ship because they're going to Ryloth's moon. Like, come on, you don't need a fucking tracking chip for that.
But did he know where they were going? Like, I thought that was the point, was to track it to see where they were going.
Yeah, but you gotta... Well, that's true. I don't know. It just seemed kind of like unnecessary to track. It's the Empire. They can track anything. Why would they need a beacon? But, okay, so yeah, I'll take that point back.
I thought it was weird that was his hero moment until the very end. He's in like 2 very short scenes, and one of them, both of them deal with just sniping, but one was sniping a tracking device, which is weird. You could just walk up to it and put it on it. I don't know.
Right? Like, that could have been done way before they took off. It's his ship. They know it's his ship. That's why they're tracking the fucking thing.
It's weird.
But that's when we meet the Bad Batch. We find out that
the
Sid
only scene they're in it too,
which I was okay with until Hera went on board and fucking Omega was showing her the ship. Yeah. Like, that seemed forced. Like, they had to be like, oh yeah, shit, Omega. Let's
There's
throw
2
her
kids. Let's make them lifelong friends.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. It didn't add anything to the fucking story. It just, yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
I mean, we think, because what if the reason why she survives and it survives the fate that her mother is, happens to her, however that works out. What if the Bad Batches are the ones that rescue her from it,
Yeah, so that's true.
There's a lot of ways that they could try to tie it in to make it make sense after the fact. But I agree, it felt very forced. And it was just like, hey, we have 2 kids. Let's make them best pals. When if you've ever been a kid, most kids are assholes. They're not super cool.
Not that easy.
They're especially little girls. Mean.
Yeah, they're the worst.
It's no joke.
Fucking evil.
So I guess these are just the 2 nicest girls in the galaxy. But what about the moon? Yes. How are they breathing? Was there an atmosphere on the rock? The moon?
I guess.
the no plants or anything around to create an atmosphere. Just like, hey, it's okay.
It's magic.
Weird. I was struck by the scenes, though. Like, the backdrops of this episode seemed to be much better than normal.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Like, first of all, that moon backdrop I thought was just beautiful. But then when they're flying back into the atmosphere and there's like some sort of storm front, oh my gosh, that was beautiful. I want a desktop wallpaper.
It was reminiscent of the first episode. Like, we haven't really seen much of that.
So
it's like they definitely put some work into this one visually.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, it pretty much just ends with them coming back, them getting popped. Like, Crosshair snipes them out of the sky, and then they land where they were going to land to begin with. So that was meaningful.
A super effective means of a shooting.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure you land in your landing zone.
Yeah.
by ruining your ship. Thanks,
Right.
Dick.
I'm gonna blow out one engine. Yeah. So then they, of course, get arrested, and everybody gets the finger wagged at him. Hera runs away, and everybody else is arrested.
I mean, yeah, but that doesn't sound so bad. But they're arrested for treason to be executed.
Yeah, that's true.
For attempted assassination of
Free
Ta, who
I am glossing over that.
seemed like it was a successful assassination to me.
Yeah.
Like, he got a headshot and dropped.
Yep, he's dead. He is definitely dead.
Like, I don't know why he would have said attempted. Like, that's weird.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Like, I know that there's a consistency error because in Lords of the Sith novel, Frita like was in that, and he died in that, I think, and that was after this in the timeline, and so a bunch of people online were sort of nerding out, freaking out, like, why does Disney keep ruining the timeline? They tell us this is the legend, or they tell us this is the current canon, and then they go against it in every cartoon series they make. And there's just over and over again of like going against their own canon timeline. But
in Lords of the Sith, that was really early on in Disney, in Disney's acquisition. So
it was like
it almost seems like everything just kind of got thrown out prior to the movies. Like as soon as the last movie came out, that's when everything was consistently, in canon.
Right.
So yeah, it's. Come on. People did this shit for 40 fucking years before you took over.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Like 10 people.
They can't figure it out.
10 people. Or 30 years ago. Whatever. Yeah.
They still did it.
Stupid.
Yeah. What was your favorite moment of this episode?
I guess seeing Chopper. Like that was pretty cool to find out that she had him that long.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, cool. There's something.
I can't tell if they're setting this up or not, but it seems like the logical conclusion to my discord with this is that if they're setting up the idea, much like Saw Gerrera, where the rebels will literally do anything no matter what in order to see that their rebellion continues. They won't compromise or anything. So when what's his name, Glee, has this opportunity of seemingly peaceful existence, even though they're mining, materials for the Death Star unbeknownst to them, like he can't give it up. He has to continue fighting because that's who he's become. He's become a warrior, a rebel, a renegade. A sort of it's like the Viet Cong or something in Vietnam. It's just he needs to be that guerrilla resistance fighter. I didn't mean to bring like a weird real world comparison because it doesn't hold up on scrutiny, but just in the guerrilla moment of the Vietnam War, it made sense. So he just can't give it up, and I wonder if that's going to be played through with Saw Gerrera. I mean, we know where that ends up, so clearly it does, but also with Rogue One, and then that Cassian Andor series that's coming out, we're going to really see that, played out. So if they lean in heavily saying, no, we fought for freedom, which means that we don't care who it is that's trying to give us the freedom. If it's not coming from us, we don't want it. And then it would make sense that they wouldn't want the Empire's assistance or protection or whatever, subjugation is ultimately what it becomes. I don't know. There has to be something that sort of fixes that, that pays that off. Because otherwise it's just a weird inconsistency in thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because ultimately the Empire wasn't the bad guys. Like, they were the good guys defeating the bad guys originally. And then, of course, they were always the bad guys because of Sidious. But as far as the galaxy knew, they were literally the good guys that saved them from the Separatists. So, and this is at that cusp before they just throw caution to the wind and say, we don't have to pretend anymore, guys. Let's just kill people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they just shouldn't know yet. I don't know. That bugs me. My favorite moment was... We're on favorite moments, by the way. My favorite moment, I think, was just the look. First of all, I love the idea of freedom fighters and stuff, so it's really nice returning to Ryloth, and just sort of exploring that situation and knowing that it's a setup for like a sort of story arc, because we haven't really had an arc yet. You know, we had like disparate episodes of Crossfire coming in and sort of messing with the Bad Batch. But this seems like it's going to be a pretty cool arc, you know, ending the season with it. So it's nice to see that seemingly set up. And I really loved the backdrops. It was just a beautiful episode to watch. And so I really appreciated that. What was your least favorite moment?
Just, I don't know. Like, it sort of feels like we're getting fed so much information, but none of it's really tying together. And that was the one thing I kept like having issues with throughout the last few episodes, and especially with this one, like watching it the whole time. It's like, yeah, this is cool, I like this, but why is this here? Why is this necessary? Or is this them just playing fan service?
Yeah, if it's not paid off in the next couple episodes, it was totally just fan service and a pointless.
And that's my worry.
Like, they've got to pay it off. They've got to. Oh, if they don't, that's going to be such a shitty episode.
Yeah. Well, and that's my worry, and that's why it's, you know, my least favorite part is I'm concerned that that's going to happen, because then it's just like, oh yeah, no, she totally met the Bad Batch once, so that's how it ties into Rebels. Like, that's my concern.
Wow, that would suck.
It would be bullshit.
Oh man. Okay, that's a good one. My least favorite, I think, is. I wish the Bad Batch was in it more. Like, just that one scene, and they were just sort of an aside. They weren't core to the story other than being the delivery device for Sid. And that's nothing. Like, this is an elite insurgent group. Like, they're trained, I don't know, and they're just transporters.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, too, like, we can have episodes without them. Like, shows do that shit where it's like, oh, here's a completely different episode, and we're going to pay it off later. They didn't need to be in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I understand why they were, but it just wasn't necessary.
I didn't think, and maybe she's not, but I didn't think Sid was, like, helping rebels. I thought she was just taking gigs. So is this just a job for her, or do you think she's actually working for some of the resistance cells, not just for profit, but for moral reasons?
I don't know. I wondered that myself. Like, it seems like she's playing both sides, but I don't know. Like, I think we'll see where that develops, or if it even develops.
This is where we get Benicio del Toro's character as a young kid.
Oh, Christ. I will stop watching right then and there.
He learns his ways from Sid.
I would seriously not watch the show anymore.
What was his name? Do you remember?
No.
I don't remember his name at all. It was like Dookie, or it was like a Dougie. It was...
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember his damn name, but it was something like that, where it's just like a short Doogie. It was Doogie Howser MD. I don't know his name. What's your hopes for the remaining episodes? I mean, we're dwindling here. There's only a handful
We are.
left.
We're getting real fucking close to the end. I hope it all ties together.
Fingers crossed, man.
That's the big thing, because it's like they're just serials with no continuity. Like, we show us where this story goes, because we already got the okay, bounty hunters after Omega, and then they kind of stopped with that. Okay, now what? Where's this episode, or where's this shit gonna go? Because there's already gonna be another season. It's already been greenlit. Yep. Where is it going? That's all I want. It's just some sort of, storyline.
Right. You know what I just thought about that is my new least favorite moment, because this doesn't make any sense. When Crossfire tracked them, was he just waiting for them to get back in atmosphere? Like, that was his big scheme?
You know what? I kind of want to watch it again just to see if he even moved out of his spot.
Because I don't know. If he tracked him to follow them off planet, he would have seen the fucking targets that he was trying to kill. The Bad Batch, and they didn't do anything with that. It's just
Yeah,
like,
what
why
the
even
fuck?
have Crossfire in it? You could have any trooper. What was the
Yeah.
point?
Or just wait until they get back
Yeah.
and do a random search. Like, that's what they did.
It doesn't
They
make
would
any
search
sense.
any vessel.
There's no reason to have Crossfire in it or the tracking device. Total pointlessness. Weird.
Because we had to have the villain twirl his mustache. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Crossfire, I'm here. Stupid. My hopes for the future is that just like yours. I hope it makes sense. I hope they tie it together. I want to see some sort of story arc about Ryloth and Hera barely escaping death, watching her mother be murdered and her father go into chains or some shit. I can't remember what happens to her dad in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see that. Like, if you're gonna show me Hera, I need to see how she gets off planet and away from the Empire.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a stupid fan seed for Rebels that's already ended.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Weird. All right. Anything else you wanted to cover on this episode?
Nah, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. You're also all very welcome to chime in the chat. For those of you catching it live, or if you're watching after the fact, leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of the episode, and let us know what you think of our take on this episode. We do seem to go down roads in our commentary that I don't see other reviewers going down, and I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, because like there's some real like continuity issues happening here, and it's not just the Rebel and the Empire thing, but it's also just why did they have that scene in it when it didn't pay off later on, or it made no sense to have it. No one else seems to be questioning this stuff that I can find anywhere. So let me know if we're just rehashing other people's thoughts. I'd love to see a link and to know, because then maybe we can try to hone our perspectives a little bit more. But otherwise, we really do appreciate your time and attention watching with us, and we hope you join us next time. And until the Infernal Brotherhood convenes again, may the Force be with you.
You don't know what you're getting into.